We want to switch gears now and bring you up to speed on what's happening in the Elizabeth Holmes trial. That is a federal case out in California. She, of course, is the founder of Theranos, a Silicon Valley startup. She claimed she was going to revolutionize medicine by testing blood. She had these machines that people could put in their house, and you could go to Walgreens and get your test results and see if you had all these diseases. But the prosecutors say, guess what? It was a fraud. It was a $9 billion con. But Elizabeth Holmes says, hey, I'm not a con. I'm not a fraud. I'm a failure. So there's a lot going on in this case. We wish we could take you inside the courtroom, but unfortunately, it's a federal case and cameras are not allowed. So we do have something we want to show you, though, that kind of gives you an overview of the case.
Henry Kissinger, William Perry, Rupert Murdoch, and several other household names have a connection to Elizabeth Holmes, and any of them could be called to testify in her federal trial. The 37-year-old Theranos founder is accused of lying to patients, doctors, and investors about how her company's blood testing machine, known as Edison, worked. Her claims helped Theranos become a $9 billion company. Former Defense Secretary James Mattis is another high-profile investor who says Holmes misled him. Mattis testified he invested $85,000 in the company and was paid $150,000 to serve on Theranos' board. Mattis also testified he discussed plans with Holmes about using Edison for a military project. Then in 2015, a Wall Street Journal expose highlighted flaws in Theranos' technology. Mattis told the jury he didn't know what to believe. Whistleblower Erica Chung testified in week 2, claiming she brought her concerns to former U.S. Secretary of State George Shultz, another investor. He, too, was expected to testify but died in February. The Stanford dropout was indicted in 2018 on 12 counts of wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. If Holmes is found guilty, she faces up to 20 years in prison. For the Law and Crime Network, I'm Angenette Levy.
Okay, let's bring our guest back in to discuss this. Darren Gelber, former prosecutor and trial attorney, and Fanon Rucker, former judge, now defense attorney, former prosecutor. Fanon, I'll start with you. How on earth did all of these famous people get sucked into this? I mean, she's claiming she was a failure, not a fraud, but it just seems really wild that you would shell out all this cash and invest in this. And there's really no proof, it seemed like. It seemed like they all got sucked in.
Yep, and these fraud cases are extremely difficult. And what you have is someone who is the head of a multi-billion-dollar corporation who can provide prospectus and strategies and plans and 5 and 10-year prospectus as to what she was designing and what she believes that, this product was going to do. And you sit down with someone who's in that field, who has connections and relationships, and depending on how persuasive she was, apparently she was as the CEO, you get folks on board to say, yeah, this is a good idea, and I'm willing to put my money into this. So it had to be something pretty compelling for this all-star lineup of military and elected officials and business folks to have gotten involved in this. I think it's going to be a very hard case for the government.
I'm still stunned that so many people got taken in by this. But I don't invest, hundreds of thousands of dollars into things. So maybe it was compelling. Darren, we don't have much time left, maybe about, a minute or so. But briefly, what do you see that happening with this case? Do you think that she can successfully make that argument that I am a failure, not a fraud? That's what her attorneys say.
Well, the same sort of conduct here is what we've seen before. We've seen it with regard to Enron. We've seen it with regard to Bernie Madoff. These colossal financial enterprises that at some point collapsed under their own weight. And here, the government's allegations, if they're proven, of 2 sets of books are going to be the death knell for the defendant, because legitimate companies with legitimate financials don't cook the books and don't keep secret sets of books. And testimony from people saying that she knew of these problems with the product are going to be a big problem. All it takes is for 1 or 2 people to invest of prominence and stature, and then the word spreads. If they invested, it must be good.
Mm-hmm.
that it did.
Well, Darren, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time and your insight. We have more Law and Crime coming up. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Dan Abrams with exciting news for all of our Law and Crime followers on YouTube. You can now get the live Law and Crime Network with YouTubeTV for all of your daily live trial coverage, legal news, expert analysis, and original true crime programs. Subscribe to YouTubeTV today and then locate Law and Crime in the channel guide. And for only $1.99 a month, you can add the network to your bundle. Watch Law and Crime every day with YouTubeTV. We put you in the jury box.